Today, we're diving into a story that it doesn't make sense on paper. It's about a life that completely shatters the neat little boxes we try to put people in.
I mean, think about it. If I say the word yogi, what pops into your head? Probably someone super calm, right? Minimalist, maybe living in a cabin, totally detached from money. But then if I say mogul, you see the total opposite, the high-powered suit, the stress, that relentless drive for more. These two people feel like they're from different planets.
But what if they weren't? What if all that spiritual detachment and all that ferocious ambition could actually exist inside of one person? Is that even possible?
Well, it turns out it is. I want you to meet Osman. He's a blind Muslim yogi, a spiritual master with 50 years of advanced practice under his belt. He's also a self-made mogul who has clawed his way into the top 0.1% of earners, not once, but twice.
So how in the world does that happen? That's what we're going to unpack. We're going to look at his core philosophy, the algorithm for success he built from scratch, the unbelievable tests he's faced, and most importantly, what his story means for the rest of us.
All right, first things first, let's get one thing straight. In a world that's kind of obsessed with manifesting your dreams, Osman's approach is, well, it's brutally honest. For him, spirituality isn't some kind of magic wand. It's a neurological advantage.
He completely throws out that whole idea of just asking the universe for stuff. As he puts it, God or the universe is not going to take money and put it directly in your hand. No magic checks are showing up in the mail.
So what's the point then? He sees it as a scientific process that gives you an indirect advantage. The input is intense, daily spiritual practice. The process isn't changing the world around you, it's rewiring the tool you use to deal with the world, your own nervous system. The output? A calm, focused mind that gives you what he calls a superiority in wit, especially when the pressure's on.
So the key takeaway here is this. This isn't wishful thinking. It's about tangible biological training. When a crisis hits, an untrained mind freaks out. It panics. It makes dumb decisions. But a trained mind, it stays calm. It sees the way out. It spots the opportunities that everyone else misses. It's a real-world performance edge, and it's one he's been honing for decades.
So, where did this hardcore mindset come from? Well, let me tell you, it was not a gift. Osman actually describes his younger self as stupid, and he's got the grades to back it up. I mean, look at this. He started at the absolute bottom of his class, 28th out of 30 kids. But he didn't just accept that label. He treated his intelligence like a muscle, not something he was born with, and he just grinded. This was a slow, painful, year-after-year climb up the ranks. And this one story just says it all. After he scored a perfect 100 on a physics test that was literally designed to be impossible, a former classmate came up to him and asked, "How did you become intelligent?" You see, she thought it had to be a trick, some kind of cheat code. His answer, there is no trick. I just study really, really hard.
And that insane work ethic was pushed to the absolute limit when he first became an entrepreneur. He went through a brutal 6-year stretch, a business drought where he was earning almost nothing, all while trying to support his wife and a newborn daughter.
But believe it or not, those early struggles, they were just a warm-up. The real tests were still to come, the moments that would push his philosophy, his algorithm for success, right to the breaking point.
First up, the 2008 financial crisis. It didn't just hurt him. It wiped him out. Completely. He went from being a multimillionaire real estate mogul to having zero overnight. And his response? It was a total act of ego death. He took a minimum wage job as a security guard just so he could use those tiny paychecks as seed money to start all over again.
Now we have to talk about the cost of this relentless drive. For decades, Osman ran on just 2.5 to 4 hours of sleep a night. And let's be crystal clear, this is not a biohack to celebrate. This is a warning. Osman himself believes this extreme sleep deprivation is what ultimately destroyed his optic nerves, leading to him becoming permanently blind in May of 2023.
So when the doctors gave him that devastating news, that his blindness was permanent and impossible to cure, his response was just pure defiance. He looked at them and simply said, "I don't know that word."
And he wasn't kidding. He refuses to take disability payments because he's afraid it would make him lazy. He lives and works completely alone. At 57 years old, after going blind, he started taking online courses to learn AI to build custom tools for his business. And the most incredible part? He rebuilt his entire fortune, reaching that top 0.1% for a second time, all while being completely blind. So that same ferocious work ethic that let him rebuild a fortune without his sight, he now channels all of that energy into his true passion, his work as a master-level healer. And this is where we really start to understand the why behind what he does.
Osman specializes in what he calls bioenergy healing. He focuses on the toughest cases, people in critical care, those with terminal illnesses. He describes it as a type of non-local, telepathic healing based on quantum principles. And he's very clear, this is meant to complement traditional medicine, not replace it. It's for people who feel like they've hit a dead end.
So why are his services at a premium level? Well, it comes down to this number right here. He practices for 8 to 10 hours every single day, and that's before he even starts working with any clients.
He calls it sharpening the sword. And his logic is simple. If you're going to help someone who is facing a life-threatening illness, you can't show up tired or unfocused. You have to be an absolute fountain of vitality. So his clients aren't just paying for an hour of his time, they're paying for the 10 hours of daily prep and the 50 years of mastery that make that 1 hour so powerful.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the grind, the failures, the comeback, the blindness, it kind of forces you to look in the mirror and ask a really tough, really personal question.
Now, if his story has inspired you, Osman has made his whole approach really accessible. He's got a ton of in-depth teachings for free on his YouTube channel. And he really wants people to start, so you can go to his website, yogawellness786.com, and download a totally free 5-minute yoga and meditation program right now.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. This isn't a story about luck. It's a story about the absolute outer limits of what a human being is capable of. So the question is, if a man can lose his fortune, lose his sight, and still refuse to be a victim, still choose to build and grind every single day, what's holding you back?